Thank you so much, everyone who watched my little post about the show that I did, Anxiety by Theater Yes. It was in 2016, actually, the end of 2016. Even in the longer video on YouTube, that was all just to explain the structure of this wild, like, I don't know, it's like iconic, but it's unique. It's just so innovative. That was just explaining the structure of the show. I didn't even get into explaining the 7 different scripts and plays that made up the entire show that was happening simultaneously in those rooms. Isn't that wild? One of them was about post-apocalypse. Another one was about a seance where someone from beyond the grave did communicate back. That was so brilliant. I can't remember who did the production behind that and made that effect possible. That was so cool. And one was about automated healthcare system, completely done by robots. One was someone on their deathbed. And these shows, I know from mine and definitely the one on the deathbed, I think the healthcare one, it was a lot of improv. It was a lot of, we worked based on what the audience gave us, which is why it was tough for mine. I found really to get it done in the 10 minutes. And then there was one about surveillance. And then there was the play that I was doing called A Vigil For You that was written by the director, Ali Joy Richa. The set was one of the most beautiful, most intricate sets I've ever worked in. Was done by Wong, and the production assistant was Abigail, Troppman. And people would come in, and it was about a daughter who was holding a vigil for her mom who had passed away from Alzheimer's. So when people would walk into the door, into the room, I would greet them, and I was encouraged to go in for a hug, and it was hard. People were already on edge. And so it was very interesting to see how vulnerable people were willing to be. Like, interesting journey emotionally for me with how, like, handling that rejection over and over and over again from people who weren't comfortable, which rightly so was a wild situation to come into. And basically I was hosting this vigil, and the mom had left instructions for what she wanted her close friends and colleagues at this vigil, which was the audience members, to do. And the first thing was to write down on a piece of paper something that they wished to forget. Oh, I should say too, when they came in, a picture was taken of them, and it was developed, printed, and by Abby. So while the rest of the 10 minutes was going on, those pictures were being essentially developed within that 10 minutes. And so people would write down something they wished to forget, anonymous, and they would leave it in the room. So over the course of the run, we developed all of these memories on paper that people wanted to leave behind in that room. So the room is like covered, like all over the walls, underneath plants, stashed away in the bookshelf, in books. And at the end, I'm so thankful that I think around 1,500 memories were collected in that room, and I believe they're archived at the theater company in Toronto, I hope. So that's really cool to see everything that was collected. And then the second thing that was a part of the vigil was to write something down that you never wanted to forget, which was happening to the mother, obviously, so she was trying to write everything down. And then they would put that into an envelope that was given to them and seal it and put their name on the front and their mailing address. And then they had to trade the envelope with someone in the room. And then they were asked to send those envelopes back to the person to remind them of that thing that they never wanted to forget, or that joyful, beautiful thing in their life. And some people did it, like everyone didn't do it. I know my sister, the person who ended up with her envelope, sent hers to her, which was really cool. And then in the end, I think I had 8 minutes, honestly, because then 8 or 9 minutes or something like that, because in the last part of the 10 minutes, I would leave the room, and the pictures of all of them that were taken at the very beginning of the 10 minutes, they were printed and cut by Abby, which was amazing. She did all that in 10 minutes, would be left in the center of the room for people to go and retrieve it and to hold on to it, or see if they notice any difference in themselves from coming into the situation and after leaving behind something. So yeah, it was kind of the scope of it. It was really interesting. I had in my script like these time markers of like what part in the script I had to be at like this many minutes and this many seconds to make sure I could get through everything and things like that. It was so cool. It was so interesting performing in such an intimate, tiny little space with people. It was the first time in my life where I had a reviewer come into the room and literally opened up a notebook and a pen right in front of me, because I would usually be behind the desk of this mother's office where the vigil was, and I just remember like, wow, that was a first. He stood right in front of the desk, like a couple feet in front of me, flipped open a notebook, was reviewing my performance from that close, and I was like, okay. I feel like my sister and I too, like or my family, when we're reminiscing about it, it's like, oh my god, so many details that you could just go on and on about with this iconic show. And I don't know if it's ever been done again, like, because it's would be really hard to find the right kind of space, I guess, and the logistics with the bus and God, I mean, getting everyone together, like 6, 7, and then there was the script that was happening outside that was connecting the whole thing together. Like, what? I don't know if this has been done before, but I just look back at it. I think it was the most, like, I just think it's mind-blowing what we did and what this show was, and Heather and Theater Yes, the fact that they came up with this, and the idea was crazy from the start, but the fact that they put the work ethic was there to bring it to life. And I just feel like more people should know about it when you work in indie theater. I mean, it's a smaller audiences that it attracts, but it's really rare you get to do this kind of work that pushes boundaries, where that is innovative, because it's not about making a certain amount of revenue for the theater to survive. And it's just like so cool. I'll always cherish times like that in my life where, yeah, I got paid below minimum wage, but I don't know, there's no amount of money that can make, I don't know, give you an experience like that, or just like, yeah, a memory like that is really cool. I just think more people need to know about this. And I'll stop blabbering soon, but where I'm from, Edmonton, Alberta, it's not like a super cool, exciting city, but I have to say the theater scene there is pretty strong. It's pretty iconic. We have the second largest fringe festival in the world, and just, yeah, the theater that comes out of there. I've seen some of the most beautiful, innovative shows right in my hometown. There's incredible artists there who are so committed to their craft and sacrifice a lot for it, and it's amazing. If you're there, you're looking for something to do on a night, please do Google like Edmonton theater and see what's happening, and go out and support the theater scene, because it's amazing. Like, I still can't believe we did that. I can't believe that was a thing. That was amazing.